When you guys are on Leviticus chapter 19, there's a whole string of commandments here, different, covering all various bases, from the 10 commandments to tattoos to all sorts of things, mixing seeds and clothing. But what's interesting here is that it also covers the greatest commandment, love your Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. And as we know in the New Testament, loving our neighbor is what all the commandments hang on. But let's go through this. I'm going to read very quickly. It's 37 chapters, so there's a lot of them here. So we'll just pause on a few. Verse 1, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to all the congregations of the sons of Israel, and say to them, You shall be holy, for the Lord your God am holy. Remember holiness being one of the main themes in Leviticus. Every one of you shall revere his father and mother, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. And there's some of the 10 commandments. I am the Lord your God. And just a little bit different here. The 10 commandments is honor your father and mother, and the word revere is used here, which is more of an attitude, whereas honor is more of an action. Do not turn to idols or make yourselves molten gods. Again, 10 commandments. I am the Lord your God. Now when you offer a sacrifice or a peace offering to the Lord, you shall offer it so that you may be accepted. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it, and the next day, but what remains until the third day shall be burnt with fire. So if it is eaten at all on the third day, it is an offense, it will not be accepted. Everyone who eats it will bear his iniquity, for he has profaned the holy thing of the Lord, and that person shall be cut off from his people. Now when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very corners of your field, and you shall not gather the gleanings of your harvest, nor shall you glean your vineyard, nor shall you gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the needy and the stranger. I am the Lord your God. So many practical laws of providing for the poor, leaving some of the leftovers for them. Verse 11, For you shall not steal or deal falsely or lie to one another. Again, back to the 10 commandments. You shall not swear falsely by my name, so as to profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Verse 13, You shall not oppress your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of a hired man are not to remain with you all night until morning. You shall not curse a deaf man, nor place a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall revere your God. I am the Lord. And so now, not only the poor, but also a compassion needs to be for the disabled, the deaf and the blind. Verse 15, You shall not do injustice. In judgment you shall not be partial to the poor, nor defer to the great, but you are to judge your neighbor fairly, so that we serve a God of impartial. Verse 16, You shall not go about as a slanderer among your people, and you are not to act against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. Again, gossip is dealt with. Verse 17, You shall not hate your fellow countrymen in your heart. You may surely reprove your neighbor. You shall not incur sin because of him. Interesting here. Now we start to turn towards the heart, and the heart is really the issue under the new covenant. Everything happens from within the heart, not really the outward, but what the inner man. And so even here back in Leviticus, the Old Testament, God is dealing with the heart. Verse 18, You shall not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the sons of your people. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There it is. I am the Lord. You are to keep my statutes. You shall not breed together 2 kinds of cattle. You shall not sow your field with 2 kinds of seed, nor wear a garment upon you of 2 kinds of material mixed. Now if a man lies carnally with a woman who is a slave acquired for another man, who has in no way been redeemed nor given her freedom, there shall be punishment. You shall not, however, be put to death because she was not free. He shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord to the doorway of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. The priest shall also make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before the Lord, for a sin which he has committed, and the sin which he has committed will be forgiven him. When you enter the land and plant all kinds of trees for food, you shall not count their fruit as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. It shall not be eaten. But on the 4th year all its fruit shall be holy, an offering of praise to the Lord. In the 5th year you are to eat of its fruit, and its yield may increase for you. I am the Lord your God. And so it's interesting that they could plant in Canaan. The land is defiled from all those people, and only on the 5th year could they eat. The 4th year the fruit dedicated to the Lord. Verse 26, you shall not eat anything with blood, nor practice divination or soothsaying. Very clear from Deuteronomy 8. Many things are covered there. Practice of divination, fortune telling, interpreting, omens, sorcery, charmer, medium, necromancy, all those things are abomination to the Lord. It says in Deuteronomy 8 verse 12. And because of these abominations to the Lord your God is driving them out before you. So they did all those things, they get driven out. The land is defiled, and they could only eat the fruit in the 5th year. 27, you shall not round off the side growth of your heads or harm the edges of your beard. You shall not make any cuts in your body for the dead, or make any tattoos, marks on your body. I am the Lord. Interesting how demons will often cause people to cut themselves. Verse 29, do not profane your daughter by making her a harlot, so that the land will not fall into harlotry, and the land become full of lewdness. You shall keep my Sabbaths and revere my sanctuary. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to mediums or spiritists. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. You shall rise up before the grey-headed and honor the aged, and you shall revere God. I am the Lord. Interesting, in the last days, people will no longer honor their parents and the aged. Verse 33, when a stranger resides with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You shall do no wrong in judgment and measure of weight or capacity. You shall have just balances, just weights, and a just ephah, and a just hin. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from the land of Egypt. You shall observe all my statutes and all my ordinances, and do them no harm. And so all these can be summarized by loving your neighbor as you love yourself, and loving God. And all of these laws hang on those two under the new covenant. Amen.